Welcome to episode 40 of A Dose of Rags, the podcast for you. Hey, 40 episodes in, you know what we thought? We never kind of introduced ourselves fully to the A Dose of Rags Nation. Like, a lot of you guys know us. Some of you are like, who the fuck are these guys that I've been watching, talking about politics, talking about picking your nose, talking about taking shits. Who knows what we've talked about? But we are three friends that grew up together. So we're going to be doing a series, which is called Hey, How You Doing? Which means we're going to interview each other on these episodes. So we're going to do it week by week. This week is going to be me and Jay interviewing Mr. Dous. Next week will be Jay, and then it'll be me on the last one. So, I know we started with Dous because one thing about, I think the audience knows least about Dous, whose actual name is Ferdos. I'll just give it to you this way. I know Dous about 35 plus years. We grew up in the same development, basically. It was a development we shared. Like, it's kind of the same development, it's kind of not. It's like also the same with Jay. So on the other side is Jay. On one side, going more towards the north. On the other side is Dous, which is going more towards the south, which I know it doesn't make sense, but that's the actual logistics there. I grew up about maybe a half a mile from both of them, but with Dous, I grew up, and I got to, obviously, because me and him are the same age. Me and him actually share a birthday. We're 1 day apart with our birthdays, but we're a year apart, so I'm a year older than Dous. So actually, how I met Dous was we were actually on the football field in someone's backyard, and it was the first time that side of the neighborhood came to play us. You know what I'm saying? It was, okay, oh shit, who's these other brown bastards? It was funny. We had a very diverse neighborhood. So on that football field, you had Frenchie. I forget his name, but he was French. David was French. We had Jonathan Schwartz, Jewish. We had Justin Varghese. I'm giving a lot of names here. South Indian, which is completely different than us Indians. More like a J Indian, but he was Christian. We had Ahmed and Emged, two Egyptian twins, who were like the Bam Bam. Everybody. Who were those? Jesus. Who were those twins in the wrestling league? The Bushwhackers.
Oh, Bushwhackers. Yeah.
These two were like the Bushwhacker boys. Yeah, exactly. We had a shitload of Indians coming from my block. But anyway, I think
shitload of Indians.
We had a really diverse neighborhood.
Was Hishan in that neighborhood?
No, Hishan never played football. He was a soccer guy.
He lived in Pushing Knuckles neighborhood.
Yeah, so that neighborhood had their own league. They were more basketball. We were more like football, baseball. I was a big football guy.
Yeah.
I was a guy sitting in the yard, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, 3 balls, and I'd still strike out pitching my own fantasy. That's how stupid I was. Because I knew I was never making the school team. But anyway, so I meet Dous growing up, and we play football. We start playing little sports together, and then I meet a guy through the Indian community named Sam, and I go to his house one night because my parents are friends with Sam, and I'm like, "You're friends?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm friends with Dous." I was like, I didn't know Dous as well, obviously, but then, so Sam apparently his pastime was to prank Dous, and I think Dous's pastime was to prank Sam, and I also was a notorious pranker in the neighborhood. Some of the pranks we did were including putting dead rabbits on women's lawns, on kids' lawns. Which I made my brothers do. I felt so bad because I didn't want to pick up the dead rabbit. What a dick I was. I called women, accusing them of having affairs in the neighborhood. And maybe they were. I would prank. I was a bad kid. I'll put it that because I pranked everybody. So anyway, I meet this kid. He pranks Dous, and I learned. So what's funny is Ferdos was one of the spoiled kids who had his own phone line growing up.
Not till my teen years, but okay.
Okay, still. And Sam, did Sam too?
I don't think he had his own.
The reason I mentioned that is because it was easy to prank Dous because you knew his dad and mom weren't answering because it was his line. right?
I was getting pranked before I had my phone line, by the
way. Which one was 4915? That's Al John's.
Yeah, that's Al John's.
2752. What was it?
Mine was my house line. My family line was 2918. Mine was
2918.
79037 was my own line.
Yeah.
God damn, but you got Al John's number memorized?
Me?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I got that number. Go have some Al John's pizza down there in West Windsor. That deserves to be memorized. I knew it started with a 2, so 2918 was the main line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so me and Dous actually, when I was around 14, 15, started hanging out really tight because of our mutual friend, this white guy named Mike Nupple, who was 6'8". He claimed to be 6'9".
Still is 6'8".
And that tells you how fucked up the world is. A 6'8" guy still had to pretend he was 6'9", even though no one fucking had any idea once you say 6 foot, whatever, right? But so me, him, and Dous and our other boys, Push and Revo, we had this neighborhood clique. And there was like the meeting of two neighborhoods. We grew up together. At that point, I remember me, Dous, and all 5 of us were really tight. Started getting really tight. Dous's house growing up was the cool house. Okay, that was where Dous's parents would take trips more than any of our parents. We were like, okay, even when our parents were out of town, we didn't have the best food in our house because we were all vegetarian. I grew up in a vegetarian house. Dous, even though he grew up a Muslim, he had like the prime food, the ham, the cheese. He had all the best shit. All right.
Yeah, we didn't exactly practice.
Eating a lot of meals at Dous's house, eating a lot of meat that I never got access to inside of a Hindu household. No, but I remember, goddamn, I must have eaten 1,000 pistachios from your house going over the years.
You couldn't finish it, though. There's just way too many. You go to a Persian home, there's just way too many pistachios to begin with. You're not going to finish it. And by the way, my sister's still traumatized. Till this day, she bitches about how my friends would eat all the food in the house.
That was me, honey.
They're like orphan children when they come in your house.
I respected there was a rule. Dous would be like, yo, these 3-4 things are lollies. Do not touch them. And they were always like the best things, like the Reese's peanut butter cups. All this shit a fat kid like me wanted was all off. You know what I'm saying?
You were good, but someone
we were
you were
pretty
good. But someone, yeah, you were good. Someone else wasn't. I'm not gonna say his name, but someone else wasn't. It'd always be like, "Come on, yo, just let me get one."
I wouldn't go into that stash. I didn't want to create a war in the household.
Your parents probably felt like you had orphan children coming in like that to feed these malnourished kids that had no food.
They did feel bad. And by the way, it wasn't always when they're out. They were home too, and we'd have people over.
Yeah, that's true.
They got to the point where I'd rather you just be home if you're going to get it in like that.
One thing you got to remember, his house is sectioned off a little bit. He had more privacy than we did, right? Dous had a room upstairs. His parents' room was downstairs, right? So that's a cool way to have it, though, because it's just sectioned off this little part of the house that was Dous's kind of. Anyway, so what had happened was then obviously, look, me and Dous became great friends. I've been there through thick and thin, and he's been there the same way for me. There's been times I've been in a jail cell next to him weeping, thinking about how I'm going to do fucking 2 years time a bid. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, we got to know each other, obviously, through the years. Things that I wanted to bring up to start was Dous probably had, before I came up and I got arrested and got in trouble for some really stupid stuff, Dous had the biggest controversy in his household because he got a 16-year-old pregnant when he was 17.
I'm glad you prefaced that.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's not exactly accurate. I was 18.
Okay.
When she was conceived, but we were dating since I was 16.
Yeah. They were dating since he was 16. She was 9. She was 14, right?
She was 15. 16. She was 15. I was just about to turn 17, but I was 16 technically when we started dating. There we go.
Dous got her pregnant, and it was a controversy because of the ages. They were young, and her family, very pro-life, And obviously, now Dos's daughter is 23 years old. So what a blessing that they had that thought process, right? Whereas most people don't. Most people are like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. But in this case, I think I genuinely have to say Dose is one of the best fathers I know.
Oh.
So that night that his baby mama is she's going into labor. We're Trenton, New Jersey. I forget which hospital, but
so did I. There's only one main hospital out there.
Capital Health.
I remember the baby's born maybe like 10 o'clock at night.
No. We were there at 10 o'clock at night. The baby was born at 2:30, 2:27 in the afternoon the next day.
Okay. We were there at 10 p.m. that night. We know she's going into labor. And of course, I'm like, yo, what do we got to do, bro? We got to get some weed, man. We got to get some pot and celebrate. The block right there, dog. We're in Trenton, New Jersey. I'm going to go grab us a bag. So,
for those that don't know, aren't familiar with Trenton, by the way, I mean, there's a lot of hood out there where you could, get your choice of party favor.
It's like any city, right? So basically, I leave the hospital, going to get a bag of pot. At that point, a nick. A nick or a dime. Okay? Quarters were $20. I'll never forget the price. The quarters were 20. That was when you were getting the deal. You're getting 7 grams for the $20 on the block. Okay? It was curled up into a corner sandwich bag, and it was like the Mexican brick dirt. Okay? But that's what we could get. Or they had $5 or $10 bags, right? And by the way, if as an Indian, to buy the $5 bag and not get the $20 bag was a huge no-no, right? You're talking about probably 5 or 6 grams versus, just the one joint. Anyway, one blunt. So anyway, I go down to the block to get, by the way, I have to paint the picture.
Sure.
We're going to get pot. The baby mama's family's not happy with us to begin with because, as you can see, we're the type of guys that want to celebrate with marijuana in the hospital. So we aren't the best kids, right? We are the type of kids that are obviously, we are revolting against society. I'll put it that way. We're rebels, right? Without a cause, by the way. So I go to the block. Guy comes up to me. What do you need? And I remember hearing this guy's voice.
I thought you rang his doorbell. It was late as hell. And you woke him up or something like that.
No. I was like, it was late. It was like 11 or 12 by the time it was late. It was late. And no one was out, which is weird because you figure 11 o'clock early. Maybe it was 1 o'clock. It was fucking so late. No one was out. I'm looking everywhere. I'm going from block to block to block just to get this bag of fucking weed. Right? God. And I see this dude. I'm like, yo, you got a dime, bro? It was a dime. He's like, yo, I remember his voice being real raspy. And I'm like, this motherfucker comes over to me. It's real dark. I'm like, all right. He pulls out a gun. But, I mean, this had to be a gun from like 1920. Because it had a little musket in the front. You know what I'm saying? It was a long, weird Civil War, whatever gun. I don't even know if it was real. I kind of laughed at him because the gun was... And I also saw he was a crackhead, right? So in my mind, 2 things are clicking. Like, the shit ain't probably real, but you never know. So now I'm like, okay, it might not be real, but he's a crackhead. So if it is real, high likely that his finger could be fucking triggered really easily. But anyway, he said, give me what you got. So I give him, I only had $10. That's how broke we were, right? I gave him the $10. He looked at me, what the fuck is this shit, man? Starts cursing me out. And I'm like, man, fuck you, right? Because at that point, I know he's not going to shoot me because I saw that he's so mad about he needs more money for his crack at that point. So anyway, funny, the guy who's in the car, he takes off. This motherfucker takes off, seeing the gun on me. Takes off, but then pulls back. I ran towards the car. I caught him up, but still, kind of a dick move, right? To leave me in the street, because, I mean, guy had a gun, but...
Yeah, but he could see all that from parking in his car?
He saw that because I literally was right there, and he took off. because the reason he took off, he didn't take off right away.
He may have had more dough on him.
Listen, no, he had more dough on him, but he didn't take off right away. He watched what was happening with me, and then the crackhead got so mad when I only had $10, he starts running towards the car. You know what I mean? And then he takes off. So sorry, I didn't remember it correctly. Then the motherfucker, because then the guy's coming towards him. So it wasn't to leave me or anything like that. He made the right move because the guy was coming at him. Anyway, we get back to the hospital. Didn't somehow we burn some dirt? What happened then? What the hell?
I don't remember I remember the story, but I don't remember if I smoked that with you or not. I remember smoking with someone in the car with you in there maybe, but I don't remember if they brought that or if that was from you. I really don't remember that part.
Well, anyway, what's interesting is
this whole time I was in the hospital. This whole time you're going.
Yeah. Somehow we burned, but it's a memorable night from Naya's birthday. But yeah, I want to go into, so look, obviously, like I said, folks, you guys now get the history kind of between our relationship. I know the guy for a long fucking time, so I'm not going to go into some boring ass questions. Because we're talking about, and remember, the first few years of Dous's fatherhood and Naya's life, it was a power struggle between him and his baby mom. And again, I'm not mentioning a name because we're talking about this a little bit. So I might go into your look. I think this is a fair question because you were a father at a tough time in your life when you're literally only 18 years old. You became a father, right? Now you have two other children who obviously are planned children who, you're married to the woman, totally different situations. Regardless of that, what's the toughest part of being a pops for you?
When I hear that question now, I think of the toughest part of being a pops now, not back then, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll stick to now mainly because, when I think back then, I was just very much I felt like on my own a lot, and not much I could really say to that. I was just trying to get through the next day. Nowadays, it's a hell of a lot different. I would say definitely managing the things that I can't control, like the sudden meltdowns and the mystery smells, and how a 5-minute task can turn into a full-blown hostage negotiation, like helping the middle child, the 10-year-old, with her math homework, and she's really not good at math. So it's like, the common sense stuff. It's like, okay, well, what's 5 plus 5 plus 5? I don't really know. Well, what's 4 plus 5? It's 9. What's 5 plus 5 then? It's like 30? Like, yeah. So it's like those frustrating moments, or trying to get the little guy to go take a shower last night was this whole meltdown about that. So managing the things that I can't control is by far the
which
toughest.
Is all kids are. That's raising kids is things you can't control. Think we can't even control Jay here. He's an adult. What's the best part of being a dad for you, man?
Watching the kids experience things for the first time, whether it's like their first, I don't know, like Alexia's roller coaster for the first time, or Aiden get a little brain freeze from like just guzzling down some slushy or something like that. The reactions are.
So this is cool because I think that everybody says that as a parent. It was amazing seeing their first steps and the first time they said my name. Well, this is another side of this shit I like to hear is like when the kids fuck up. It's also just as fun, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to see their head go through the wall, and you're like, "Oh, hope you learn from that one, dummy."
Especially when it's like, "Hey, don't do that," and they do it anyway. And it's like, "I told you, bitch."
Well, is that rewarding? At the end of the day, that
not really, because it's only rewarding. It's only rewarding.
They learn way more from their failures, right?
When they learn from those failures, yes, it's rewarding. When they learn from those failures. Otherwise, it's a cycle of just insanity is what they call it, I suppose. Keep doing the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or there's some regret, like when Aiden will his face will light up when he discovers something new, but then he'll follow up with like 47 follow-up questions about it right afterwards. I'm not even nearly qualified to answer.
But that's being a father, right? You're not really prepared, but you go with it. So, do you have a favorite? And again, we're not going to ask names or anything like that. It's a tough question. And I know people have favorites for a fact because I was a favorite. My mom will admit it to this day.
Do I have a favorite kid?
Yes. Just I don't have to answer which one. Just say yes or no. Simple. This is like a Donald Trump.
No.
I'm trying. No.
I have favorite things that I like to bond with each kid.
Okay.
Got
it. Now, what's harder? Mac, you haven't finished raising a son yet. So is it more exciting for you to raise your son than it was your daughters? Because you could relate more to them.
He's still young. I am looking forward to things that guy stuff that we could do. But yeah, there are some playful like boy type things, getting dirty and shit like that. Little activities that get us dirty, and then he doesn't even give a crap. We just get.
Is he at the age now? He's very abstract the way his thought process is, which I like because he's like me from that point of view where I'm not linear. I think from a different level than most people, and I think a lot of people are like that, right? But I would say, do you feel like you want your son? You're a great tennis player, right? So you were a really great tennis player in high school. You played for a school team. Do you feel like he has to play tennis? Do you feel like your daughter has to play tennis?
Well, first of all, I wasn't really that great of a tennis player. I just figured out ways to win. That was it. If you looked at my game, there's nothing pretty about my fucking game. Okay? Well, that's number one. But I appreciate the compliment. Number two, no, I don't. I mean, right now the little guy doesn't give two shits about sports. If I'm being fucking honest with you, I put him in t-ball, and he's like, he embraced it, but he was like, all right, are we done?
Yeah.
Ironically, Alexia lately has taken a little more into like throwing the ball around and trying to show me that she's learning how to throw and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to go into something. But no, I don't expect them to get into that necessarily. I would love them to.
Well, are they aware of your obsession with sports?
Yes, they are aware of my obsession with sports. And on top,
yeah. And by the way, Jay, you can come in with a question anytime you want here. I'm just freestyling. Coming off the top, by the way. So if any of these questions that you have about this, it's just not me and Dous here. So like, they understand your obsession. Now let's get into this. This is an obsession, by the way. Obsession.
I disagree.
By the way, yes, it's an obsession because I will tell you this. I will predict this, and you can answer my question. You spend at least 30 to 40 hours a week, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's listening to sports, whether it's watching sports, whether it's fucking thinking about sports, reading about sports. Is it that obsession that I speak of?
I disagree on the premise of 30 to 40 hours a week.
How much? 50?
All right, let me answer it this way. There's two ways to answer your question. Pre and post marriage. Pre-marriage, yes, easily 40 to 50 hours a week.
Okay.
I mean, before marriage, sports it was in the background. It was my music. It was life soundtrack. It was emotional support system. Now I gotta pace myself. With the exception of football season, I pace myself. When Sundays are still.
By the way, with the exception of fucking from August to February, he paces himself, which is football season.
End of August.
End of August. February.
End of August.
End of August to end of February.
To beginning of February. Okay.
Actually,
well, no, because you're still talking for a few weeks about that shit after it's over.
But see, there's a difference between talking about it privately right now with my buddies.
Okay,
who my
fine.
wife can't hear
You're watching it for 20 hours a week now, and you were doing 40 to 50 to 60 back then, right? So you've cut it into a third, right?
Okay, sure, yes.
Right. Okay, so now let's get into
one of my first memories with Dous, which he didn't know, I brought it up to him this weekend, was actually sports related. Because obviously I knew him in association with you guys, but one of the first times we actually hung out was he ordered the Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson fight. Because hardly anyone was actually buying that pay-per-view back then. And he ordered it at his house. It was me, him, and I can't remember if it might have been you, Regs. I don't know. You remember watching that fight with us? The Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson fight?
Are you sure I didn't charge you $2 to come in, Jeff?
No, we had no money back then.
I don't remember. I probably had to be there. Right?
I remember you had that dog that was. Remember that dog that
husky?
Yeah, that she was abused. She wouldn't come out from under the table. I remember I spent half the time trying to.
She used to come out from. She didn't fuck with me too much, but she used to come out around me.
She did.
She was really
in the same
scared.
room. It's like she would be okay, and I'd go over her. She would get annoyed by me, but she was in the same room as me. But let's get into the heat of the moment. This is the good stuff. Good stuff. How did you and your wife meet?
We met at my place. I mean, my parents had went away, and I had a little get together.
So this is now just to give the background story. Dous' parents moved into a beautiful house, into more north than where we grew up, and they basically had this design of this basement where it was its own apartment. It was its own exit, its own entrance. It was its own place, right? So Dous basically was like his apartment inside of their house, but again with private access. So at that point, she comes to that place. You're saying, right?
Yeah, she came to my place with like 4 other friends of mine. One of them,
well, how was the initial?
How did we meet? You mean?
Yeah.
Well, she came with one of my buddies who just got out of jail. My first time I'm seeing him. Mm-hmm. He's dating a girl who happened to be my wife's best friend at the time. So the 3 of them plus 2 other friends, they all came in one car. And it was a very spontaneous thing. I didn't even know, I didn't even know they're bringing any extra friends like her. Yeah. We met at the parking lot of an A&P where I wanted to get some food to grill. My parents were out for the night. They're gonna come back late, whatever. My kid at the time. She was 8 years old. She was there spending the night with me there. So it's supposed to be a light thing. Yeah. And then we met at the parking lot. We didn't do much talking, but we just organically just had conversations throughout the night. I mean, that to make it easy right there. And then when they left, I just kind of followed her out. As I was walking out, I was following her and asked her for a number, and we exchanged it. And then
Okay, so wait. We have a lot of missing.
A lot of missing stuff right there. Skipped a lot of shit.
Initial point of meeting A&P, because they're he's like, I'm coming. I got these people. Oh, you got people. Oh, I got to go get some food. Might as well go to A&P. By the way, right. A&P is a supermarket. You guys go.
Not
get
Asian
your
massage
food.
parlor.
Who the hell thinks A&P is a massage parlor?
Jay, apparently. Jay.
All right, Jay. Another thing I learned about you. A&P. Why is that called the massage parlor? Let's give the audience, now that you've opened a can of worms, why is it called A&P?
Asian massage parlor, AMPS. That's how I've heard it referred
Okay, what's the P for? Asian massage parlor with parlor. Okay, Asian parlor.
Asian massage parlor. Yep, AMP.
AMPS.
Yep.
So it's like the AMP instead of AMD, right? Like them.
Yep.
All right, so anyway.
That's
let's be honest, that's where Jay used to get his meat. The only meat he had. So I got confused. Then you meet these people in the parking lot. Bam, you see your boy. It's been a long time. I'm making him grill you some fucking steak, bitch. Come over to the crib. You get to the crib. 3 girls, right? 2 guys, right?
3 girls. Well, now 3 girls, 3 guys all together.
3 guys. Fucking Indian Bollywood movie. 3 girls, 3 guys. You guys. You okay? And now, is it designated that any of these girls are single, or is it free fall? One of them's talking to your boy, and then the other 2 you don't know, and then there's another one.
The other 2 girls were taken by the other 2 guys that were already there, so we were the only 2 single people there at the time. And I guess it was conveyed at some point. I don't remember it, and it wasn't one of those things. In my case, it wasn't one of those things where I just saw her and everything was. I was very, very conservative at that point. At that point in my life, with my kid being 8, I was very selective about who I want to bring around my kid. So this came in. This was meant to be very casual, kind of evening
Yeah.
with a friend of mine who just got out. I
Yeah.
wasn't really thinking I'm trying to hook up with this girl, or she's single,
Yeah.
well, I got to get to know her. It just really happened organically, everything.
Well, so you guys you start talking, and
We played dominoes and all this shit.
so you guys just they hung out for a few hours, and then you used when you're walking her out. Sorry, Jay, what was your question?
No, I was gonna say, do you recall any moment like you try to do something to impress her?
No,
At that moment, none.
no.
All right,
I didn't
He's
feel like
grilling,
I needed to.
bro.
That's what I'm wondering.
You were grilling, bitch.
I
You
guess
know
so,
what?
yeah.
Let
I
me
guess
tell
so.
you, Dous, listen, he loves to grill, and he definitely puts on the little I'm the griller fucking show. He's very good at it. He's the best griller, one of the best grillers I know, right? So
I might be like one of the only grillers you know too.
I grill. I know I met a lot of people in my life, dude. You think you're the only one that grills? I've dealt with some heavy hitter grillers, right? I've dealt with some fucking. I'll tell you, Atul's a big griller.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah. He's not as good as you, though. I'll give him that. I'll give you that.
So you didn't try to salt bear that night and slice it up and put the grill in her mouth.
I had the most burnt moment because she asked if I have dominoes to play dominoes, but she said, "Do you got any dominoes?" I'm like, "Well, as a matter of fact, I have leftover pizza right in the kitchen right there." I was like, "No, you fucking idiot! I'm at the game."
You know how fat I am? If I went up looking for Domino's chips and I asked Dous, "You got any Domino's?" He pointed to pizza. I'd be like, "Fuck the game." I would have just taken the box of pizza and been like, "Well, this is even better, baby." But yeah.
I did. You know what? I did try to. You know what? I lied. I did. You're right, a little bit, because this is right around the time where you were like really working hard at the comedy. The compilation album had just dropped earlier that year, so there was a lot
I wasn't working hard. I should have been working hard.
Well, look, that was the image.
I wish I was.
That was the image I was trying to paint when I'm talking about it, though. Right?
Oh yeah, to her.
So I'm part of this group. I'm the management on this group. We do comedy and music, entertainment, blah 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 blah. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jay, I did. You got me there.
There you go. And so you follow her out to the whip. Nice to meet you. I'll see you soon. And at that point, I got to remind the world, because this is obviously didn't know you. I knew you well. At that point, we used to call Ferdos Puerto Rican because he dated into this Latina circle in Newark of these great girls. And he was into like Spanish music because he was like hanging out with like a bunch. They all lived together, right?
Yeah.
So he was integrated into their culture, but we used to make fun of Dous because we're like, "Que." Like that's what we called him. I think that was his nickname.
Persian Rican.
Persian Rican. We broke his balls like no other. But that was when, at that time, you had a lot of Latino flair to you because you had years of experience now. Living with a Latino woman, being around her and her friends. You even brought some of your guy friends, dated her friends. So they all lived together. And matter of fact, that apartment, from the roof of that apartment is where I watched the 9/11 buildings, smoke drift across the East River.
Yeah, that's right.
Drift across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Down, it was the weirdest. I'll never forget that. Go ahead. Sorry, Dous.
And by the way, that Latin stuff that you speak of, I tried to impress my now wife with that when I first met her, and she was not impressed at all. And I'm going to tell you why. My exposure to most of the Latino community at the time, and the Latina community, was primarily Puerto Rican and Dominicans.
Yeah.
Right? We lived in Newark for a while. I was going to school in Newark for a while. There was a huge Puerto Rican and Dominican community. There's others, Icans too.
And they were not just that. They were like West New York community, right?
Yes.
So very specific type of Joey Diaz type.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Tremendous type.
Now, my wife is South
Latino.
American. She's from Paraguay.
Yeah.
And,
that's a whole different world.
It is a different world. I mean, like there are some similarities, and they understand those similarities about each other culturally, but they know enough about the other cultures to say, well, you talk like you're Puerto Rican. Your Spanish is Puerto Rican. That's not even real Spanish.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of small little intricacies that are different, a lot of subtle differences. And again, it's just like the differences. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, the differences are much larger between me and Jay's cultures, right? Jay's language and my language sound nothing alike. Punjabi, Hindi compared to, like any of those South Indian languages, it just completely it sounds like a different country, right? The diet they eat. There's some similarities, right? Remember, Hinduism is a way of, as a lifestyle, right? It's not a religion, right? So the way they live, the way they practice their Hinduism was completely different than how we practice our Hinduism, right? With us, there's one God, right? And we believe in one God. We believe it take any form that God wants to take. We believe God is in all of us. God is everywhere, right? Anyway, this is about those. But let's get back to now. You tried to impress her with a little bit of that flair, and the shit fucking backfired. But no, so you guys get her number, and then how quickly do you hit her up? Back then, remember, there's no social media, right? This is what year?
2007, I think. 2007. When was the compilation album dropped? Later on that year.
2006 or 7. Yeah. Okay, so 7, I guess, right? 2006, 2007. You guys, then what's the next meeting you have?
No, it took a while, man. I like I told you, I was very selective and careful, and just we exchanged a few phone calls, tried to hook up a few times, but just we couldn't get on the same time until finally we did another triple date with the same crew. We went to New Brunswick and just went to a few bar hopped and got it in. It helped. It helped that she smoked pot too. Obviously, that was a good bond there. So that.
Hey, hold on. Helped. So let's slow that down. What's the first date? Just hanging out.
The bar hopping in New Brunswick.
Okay, so just like very casual.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to point this out. I forgot to mention this. I want to let people know that even though we grew up with a very minority-heavy clique, we were still worse than white people because. Everybody made fun of my dad's accent. Everybody made fun of Dous' dad's accent. Everybody made fun of all of our dad's accents. Even though we all had accents. So we would make so much fun of each other's parents. And all of them. No one was free. We used to make fun of the way Push's dad answered the phone. Revo's dad answered the phone. Your dad answered the phone. My dad answered the phone. I mean, remember, these are 4 angry brown men whose sons are now smoking pot, rebels, doing whatever the fuck they want. And we did not bring these people. We did not have these kids in this country for this reason. Anyway, so white people, I got to take some slack off them because, you know what? White people get a lot of shit. We were the same way, bro. We were talking so much shit about fucking their accents were the biggest thing for us, by the way. But I'll be honest, the one thing is, the person who created a lot of that was the big white guy.
Yeah, it's true. We got on his dad too, by the way. We got on that too.
Mike,
no.
Mike, no. But Dad! Bro.
It's not fair, Mom.
We gave him so much shit, dude. Anyway. So going back,
let me ask you: did you play any of those like mental manipulations with yourself? Like, I gotta wait a certain number of days to hit her up, so she doesn't think I'm desperate, and those kinds of things.
Probably, but I was, kind of already seeing someone else. I wasn't in a committed relationship at the time. I was straight up with her too, okay. So I was kind of like seeing someone else at the time. I called her a squeeze, is what I said.
My main squeeze.
I had a main squeeze. Like legit, we called each other that, right? So we were very transparent about it.
Wow.
Right? So it wasn't like something that I was very, very casual about it at first. Very, very casual.
Got it. Look, I love to hear how you met stories. I guess. For you, when's the moment you knew you wanted to marry her?
No. Here's a good. No, you want to know what? Okay. It sounds a little kind of silly, but I remember, in my mind, it was about obviously how I got along with her. Am I compatible with her? Is my kid compatible with her? And that was a big deal. So I took a lot of time observing that. a lot of time observing that because because at some point they're gonna let their guard down, and you see the way how they really roll, how they really vibe with your kid. So I was very, very deliberate for that specific reason as well, right? How is her family? Do I mesh with her family culturally? Could I see her family mesh with my? I was considering all these things, but I thought the final pass was when I made a conscious effort to take her to Cali to one of our close friends' wedding up in the kind of right around the Bay Area.
Bay Area,
right?
Yeah.
She was the only girl. I was the only guy that brought a girlfriend to that wedding, and I wanted to see how she meshed with my boys through those few nights. Is she one of those attention whores where she gets annoyed where I go away with my boys for a couple hours? Can she hang out and do her own thing? Can she be independent? So she passed all those tests, and I thought, that's when I kind of knew. I think.
Wow. The first out of trip for what we say. The first trip is a big one.
I thought so. That was a big test in my mind.
Well, that was also a test for you. She's like, am I going to be able to deal with this motherfucker's friends?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. When did you become such a grill champion? Because let me ask you this. It's easy for me as a fat fuck to go out and eat all this meat and enjoy eating this meat. And I had to cook on my own and learn how to make a steak on my own, learn how to make chicken and all that stuff. And obviously, I'm nowhere near where you are as a griller. When did you realize? Let me ask you this: did you learn to grill from your pops?
No, not really. I mean, I watched him, but he never really taught me. He was too microman. He couldn't take. He had no patience. Like the kebabs, you see all the kebabs. He puts in the skewers. He's like, "No, you're doing it wrong." I'm like, teach me, bro. What the hell?
Well, what's funny is that I got to give Dous' dad a shout out. Dous' dad. Dous got me, even though I was such a big degenerate. Dous got me a job with his dad when I got kicked out of college.
We talked about that this weekend, by the way, with your brother.
Oh, God.
And my dad.
Kicked out of university, right? University of Maryland scholarship, out. Nothing, I don't know what to do with my life. I have a 0.8 GPA. Had to maintain a 3-point-something to get the scholarship. No way. Anyway, I am sitting at my parents' house. They're like, you got to get the fuck out. You got nothing going on in life. Somehow, I was always good with computers or whatever, right? And at that point, somehow, my parents kicked me out of the house. I'm living at Rutgers, New Jersey. Okay? I'm living in a dorm room.
In Brunswick.
Yeah. Okay? It was a suite. So there's like 3 Indian dudes, and then they got 2 other dudes. Me and another dude are living there rent-free just because we're cool. That tells you how much being cool was. Because I got a lot of free rent in my life. Just for being fun. Just because they're like, all right, this guy's not so bad to have around. He's broke.
For a while, at least.
Yeah, for a while, right? It always ran out. It always ran its course. Actually, it never ran its course with Greg, who we used to call the Jew, the fat Jew. Greg would have kept me around forever. I love that, man. R.I.P. Greg.
Yeah, R.I.P. Greg. He's a good dude.
Yeah. But he literally called me the Jester. He's like, where's my Jester? Get him over here. He was a big time hustler, probably making 20, 30K a week, back then. There's still a lot of money now, right? But back then as a hustler, we're like, damn, he's a pretty big hustler. But yeah, I lived there just because he wanted a Jester. I was living in a place. He's like, just come live with me. You don't have to pay rent anymore. It'll be great. He had like a sex swing. He had all this wild shit in his house. Anyway, so
he farted a lot too.
Oh my God, did he fart a lot? Rent. We're talking about rent. Our fathers, by the way. I was working. Okay, so Dous got me a job with his dad. I get into this fucking place, and Dous has made me look way better than I actually am, because I get in there and he's like, I heard you know networking. And I'm like, no, I know programming in my mind. I go, no, I know programming. But I'm like, yeah, I know networking, sure. And I knew a little bit of networking, right? Barely any. And he knew that. he's a very smart man. He realized talking to me, I'm like, well, I would love to learn more. Like, he gives me this assignment, and his pops, he like a big dog. You know what I mean? He's running this program. Ceramics, right? It's nuclear fission shit. Okay, ceramical engineering. I'll never forget it because I was like, whoa, this is what they do. It's so complex, right? It's crazy but it's a very important thing that a lot of Iranians are involved with, right? That seems to be most of the programs in this country are run, and ceramic engineering are of Iranian descent. Okay. I get in there and he has this assignment for me. And I got to read like 8 books just to catch up, to understand how to set up networking, how to connect the network to a server, to understand. I was a programmer, right? I knew how to code. I knew how to code at Basic, C, Turbo Pascal, COBOL. I knew the languages. I knew how to make things happen. I knew how to make a program. If I want to design a game, I make it, right? If I want the computer to do something for me, I could automate it, right? Using programs. But I was nowhere near a network engineer by any means. But anyway, his pops, after talking to me, gave me these thick-ass books because he realized I ain't know much. But I remember opening these books and feeling hopeless just because I was like, I didn't know where to start, because he was giving me initiative to design their network. And it was something I should have never been fucking given, because it was way above my, it's something that people do after years of doing something. They would say, okay, that environment needs this, right? It's nothing that a little kid should take on. But anyway, props to your pops for believing in me. And that worked for like 2-3 weeks, and then I couldn't fake it anymore, and I just stopped showing up because I'm like, right, it was embarrassing. I was an embarrassing employee.
Wait, you no-showed Dous's pops?
Hard.
I never
Hard.
showed him
What was your
multiple
reaction,
times.
Dous?
He was hot.
Oh,
he was so hot. He was like, you can't hang out with that guy anymore. He was hot. He was so hot.
I felt awful, but also the thing at hand, that task was so hard.
I remember the one time I crossed paths with you in there and you were showing me what you had to do. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck any of this is. What does he have him
and
doing
that's what
this?
you do today, by the way.
I know.
What?
And that you understand that amongst other things.
Now I do. Yeah. Now I do.
But what I'm saying,
what gave your dad the impression that Rags was a networking expert?
Because he was.
Did you tell him that?
He was a programming guy, but my dad didn't really. I guess those guys didn't know. They figured just IT is IT.
Well, back then, it wasn't specialized. It was like Rags is good with computers.
Basically, exactly.
It wasn't like, Rags is going to design the fucking network of the year, bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I had no understanding of a client server. There was a lot of shit I didn't fucking know. And I didn't know anything. All I knew was fucking program Hello World, bitch. Okay, which we all knew. But anyway, so going into shit. Let's see.
I want to take it back. I like the whole relationship thing. Dous, do you remember the first time you hooked up with a girl? Do you remember how old you were and the first time, your first experience?
Does kindergarten count?
You really you hooked up with her? Like, besides holding hands? Like, you hooked up with a girl back in...
I remember she just kissed me all over my face once.
No, that doesn't count.
Oh, boy,
because
it was a big deal to me, buddy.
Wait, but at that age, you're just feeling like someone likes you, like a friendship.
I legit had a crush on her. I remember.
Did you have a boner at that age?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I did or didn't. I can't remember. I just remember I remember getting those kisses from her, and then telling my friend to tell my mom for me because I was just too shy to tell her when we got home.
Way.
Yeah.
Actually, I was devious enough where I would be like, no, Mom, we don't get money.
I don't know why.
I was devious enough to, I knew, but listen, I didn't hook up till I was like 17, 18, dude. So for me, it's a way different story. But so Dous, talk about the first time you hooked up with a chick. I could say it was like when you were like 14 or 15, right? 13 even, maybe.
Hooked up? What do you mean by like bone? Like have
sex?
Just
make out, like first base, second base. Remember the bases? All that stuff.
Maybe 14, maybe 14.
Wow.
Maybe 14,
That's impressive.
maybe.
Probably beat me in Rags.
Very impressive. Bro, wait. I was the last one in the clique. I never got nothing. I was worried. I was like, what am I going to do?
I thought I was
Thankfully-
one of the last ones too. Really, I mean, because it didn't come easy to me. It didn't come easy. I got lucky at 14. I mean, that kind of stuff didn't come easy for me in West Windsor. Okay, not until later. Not until later, like until my junior year. That's when things really started changing for me.
Yeah, it's junior year in college for me. So, way different there, buddy. All right, we don't have much time, but shit. You know what? I think we should do a 2-part for each person, maybe.
We could.
Because I haven't even gotten through shit.
We could. I got kind of like a 2-part question, Dous.
Right.
Like, obviously, like, you're light skinned, right? I want to know, did you experience racism, or did people think you were white growing up? Like, did you experience racism? And then the second part is, did it help that, do we have a subconscious attraction, like, to Clara, the fact that she's a first generation like us, you know, that she comes from some kind of ethnic background? You know?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't give a shit whether they had an ethnic background or not. I mean, it helped having an ethnic. No, it helped having an ethnic background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say I did appreciate that, but
I think most of the girls Dous hooked up with when I was in high school, when I hooked up with nobody, they were never white. Rarely.
Yeah.
That's what you're right.
Rarely.
Mhm.
You're right.
And he actually the girls he liked the most were brown or black.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I never dated a girl. I never dated a girl that was just white.
Yeah.
Never dated a girl. I might have hooked up with one or two, but never dated a girl that was white.
Yeah, it's why I brought that question up, because it's not something that consciously, like, I make that decision, but I think subconsciously somewhere it might.
Well, look. When you spend most of your childhood sitting next to, like, going to the assembly hall for something in school, and you're sitting next to a white girl, and then she goes, "Ew, get away from me, you're gross." Like, for most of your childhood, that does play psychological things in your head. Okay. Yeah, Jay, I did deal with some racism growing up. Sure. I mean, I dealt with it as early as I was like. Well, my family dealt with it when I was a baby. Okay, it was right in the heart of the revolution in Iran, and it was a lot of bumper stickers that piss on Iran. My parents were getting death threats, so my mom kind of like was planning on sending me to someone's home just in case something happened to them. But that doesn't really count for me because I didn't really, I was just a baby. I didn't know better. I'll tell you what. By the time I was 4 or 5, I encountered my first piece of racism. Sure. Yeah. I never looked white. I never passed as white. Okay. Growing up, everyone thought I was fucking Indian growing up.
Oh, for real? Shit.
Which used to bother the shit out of me. Because like, what? Do you hear me saying? I mean, am I sitting talking like that right now? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. Did you know that, Rex?
Obviously, Jay, he does not look white.
No, but they thought he was an Indian, which is surprising.
Yeah.
To me,
I mean, they didn't think he was white.
Yeah.
I would say this. His sister could get that off. Because her sister has a different color than him. Right?
Yeah. My sister looks definitely...
His skin way more oily than hers. I'm being honest. Right? I have oily skin. I mean, I'm so tired of all this racist. You gotta watch what you say. Little Sydney Sweeney shit. What is Sydney Sweeney shit?
Wait, is that the jeans shit?
Yeah.
By the way, we're gonna continue this interview next time. We're gonna do a 2-part now for each of us.
Sounds good.
But what's a Sydney Sweeney? Who gives a shit? She said these are cool. I have good genes. She does have good genes.
What's the controversy? I don't.
No, you know what it is, man. No, there's been controversy with her ever since. I guess it was revealed that she's. I think during COVID, she was kind of outspoken, or her family was outspoken against, like the social distancing. I think she had some parties. I think she had some outspoken MAGA family relatives or something like that. And
but who gives a shit?
Like, who cares? I don't know why. She's hot, and I think that's a big part of it too. Like, they're trying to
it's the fucking issues. What do we have going on? We've got kids starving all over the world. Okay, what does she matter? We've got a freedom problem in a lot of the countries. that were supposed to be free democracies. Okay? We got everything is fucking 10 times the price. Life is harder today than it was 6 months ago because of the cost of things. And we're worried about Sydney Sweeney and her political.
Yeah.
I don't watch her for her political stuff.
So
or whatever.
irrelevant.
And I don't ever thought American Eagle was Republican or the jeans thing. That is not Nazi. You know what's Nazi? Saying you hate someone. Okay? Not saying I have good genes. I'm allowed to say I have good genes. Obviously not up here, but I got good genes, right? I'm allowed to say that.
Is that what they're saying?
Right?
They're affiliating with Nazism? That's
because they're saying good genes. They're saying white genes. They're saying blue-eyed shit, right? Who gives a shit? That shit does look good, just like a beautiful person can, and any color can look good, right? I've seen the darkest look beautiful. I've seen the palest look hot, okay? Everything in between. Since when did that become political? Genes are genes, right? We're going to pretend now that anybody, this is a real problem. This is where, again, it's just got to be cleaned up when people get mad at you. Come on, wake up, bro. We got more important shit going on in life. She looks good in them jeans. Yeah, she does. What are you going to do?
And that's all that matters, goddammit.
At the end of the day, they're using this fucking wordplay. It's not fucking Nazi, bro. You know what Nazi is? People putting you in concentration camps. People putting you in a gas chamber. Does that seem anything like this?
They're just throwing that word out.
Did you watch the series called the last episode was back in 2019? 4 seasons. The Man in the High Castle. Did you watch that?
I've watched some of that. Yeah, I have to watch that.
For some reason, I just randomly got started in it. I'm on season 4 right now. It's basically it's based on the 60s. It's an alternate reality, as if the U.S. lost against the Nazis and against Japan.
It was the other way around.
Yeah. And so you have a U.S. that the whole eastern side is controlled by Nazis, the whole western side is controlled by Japan, and there's one neutral side in the middle. And I asked that because you mentioned Nazis. I'm like, I mean, that alternate reality, yes, it's just a show, but that alternate reality, you see that shit, then you're gonna forget about Sydney Sweeney in a heartbeat, bro. I mean, at that you'll be begging for a fucking American Eagle,
exactly.
Sydney Sweeney at that point.
You know, if you want to talk about our freedoms are being taken away with the First Amendment, that the president is basically censoring shit, please talk about that. But let's not talk about just because this girl's a registered Republican, who cares? She has a right to be, okay? You know what's crazy? I voted Republican locally in my election. I'm allowed to do that. And I voted Democrat. Well, I didn't vote this year. I voted Democrat for some stuff. I didn't vote for Kamala. But my point being is that that's the point. It's a choice. Yeah. Not everything is always in the fucking this or that, okay? It's about the person. Okay, so let's stop making it about the parties. Sydney Sweeney is an actress. She's there to put on a show. Okay, she's not there to make you feel bad. Okay, just if you are Asian and you watch that ad, it doesn't make you feel not beautiful. It makes you beautiful in a different way. You get that, right? We need one thing to be beautiful in a certain way, so something else can be beautiful in another way, right? You feel me? Like if something can't, if it doesn't make sense where we're at that, oh, no, you can't say that white is beautiful anymore. What the fuck? That's crazy to me. Like, it's like, okay, you know, it's just in India, if they started saying you can't say brown is beautiful anymore because the 13 million white people here are feeling sad. Come on. We need to grow up as a society, and we need to, honestly.
Absolutely waste of fucking energy right there. Absolute waste of energy right there.
And speaking of that, like, Ghislaine Maxwell. Speaking of waste of a human being, is now in Club Fed. She's in a place.
About that last week.
Well, we didn't talk about that. She just got moved to lower security this week.
Well, we know what's happening here. I mean, that's what I'm talking. That's what I mean.
But let me just remind the people about this broad. What she's doing right now. No locks on the cell. Yoga classes. They have dogs, puppies. They have them play with them. They sleep with them. TVs, hamburgers, hot dogs, sandwiches. That's the food they serve. Zero fucking containment. So you get an MP3 player if you want.
An MP3
This-
player.
Yes, you request an MP3 player. You're allowed to wake up and have that while you eat breakfast. I looked into this place because Club Fed. It's a spot. It's a spot, baby.
Book our next
This
vacation
is the best
there.
jail you could go to as a human being. Yoga classes. Okay? Do I need to say more? Yoga classes. Full gym. Fully
Is it in-
stocked gym. Okay? Fully stocked.
Where is it located?
You know what?
Where-
My
is it
shit ain't
Texas?
fully stocked, bitch. And I pay $100 something a month.
It sounds like a resort.
It is a resort. Literally. You have dogs, puppies. They bring in for you. You don't got to feed them. You just get to cuddle them. You get to sleep with them at night. Okay? What
You
the
want to
hell
know?
is going
You want to know
on?
who else is in Club Fed?
Elizabeth Holmes.
Remember Elizabeth Holmes?
Yes, I just said it. Elizabeth Holmes, founder of Theranos. The company that people, how many people maybe fucked up their health because of her fake tests? Anyway, this is Club Fed. She's living better than any prisoner. And this woman was in the room while Jeffrey Epstein was banging these little kids. She not only recruited them, she partook. She guided the girl. You know these porns? Like stepmother porn? That's what shit she was doing. Let me guide you with Jeffrey. Because I know what Jeffrey likes. You know how fucking sad and disgusting this human being is? We're allowing this person that ruined lives to be fucking in Club fucking Fed. And you guys think this is not about the elite winning and us losing constantly? But hey, let's change the name of the Washington Redskins, don't we? Let's talk about Sydney Sweeney being the number. She should marry Barron Trump.
Any
Fucking world is on
distraction you
fire.
could think of. Any distraction you
Anything.
could think of.
I could name 100 of them in 10 seconds, but we won't do that jig right now.
No,
But
that
anyway,
was
look.
really good.
All right. It's time to end the show. Part 2 of Get to Know Dous, a dose of Dose. We'll see you next week, boys and girls.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.